I am Dr. Corey Howard. I'm a health and wellness expert, actually board certified in internal medicine, anti-aging, functional regenerative medicine. Have done an Ironman, some other stuff that was in the past. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to get started in an exercise routine. Because you know what? Online, what do you see? You see all these perfect people. They're doing these exercises like, you should do this because you will look like that. Well, guess what? I don't look like that. No, most of us don't look like that. But if you do, lucky for you. But I can tell you that it doesn't help you with getting started, because what happens when you get started? It just hurts. It's not fun. It's hard to do. And you tell yourself these things like, I'm not going to get started on an exercise routine, and I'm not going to have consistency because it's going to hurt, or it's going to take too much time, or I'm not in shape, or I don't look right, or anything like that. I don't have a gym membership. You know what? Those are all what? Resources. So you know what you have to be? You have to be resourceful. So what I'm going to do towards the end of this, and I'll give you some information at the very end, hopefully, we'll upload it onto the podcast site, onto all of our platforms, so that you can actually take a look at some basic program. This is not genius level work, obviously. It's out there. You look online, you can find these things. But I can tell you that for me, getting started is something I've done a whole bunch of times. I started kind of not in shape at all. Took 4 years to do an Ironman, and I had lost 40 pounds in the process. But I can tell you that even today, it's like you start to work, and life gets in the way, and you want to get started again. Even if you're a runner and you stop running for a few weeks or a month, getting started again is a whole big problem. And what do? We get on ourselves. We're like, oh my God, we can't get this done. I'm not good enough, which is the whole imposter thing again. You should be the way that you ran, a year ago. And so, nah, it's not like that. Take it from where you are. Your past does not define your future, and you can literally go ahead and start today. So this is actually for those of you out there that want to get started, you feel like you just kind of like don't know where to start, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I'll show you some exercises, but I will say this, that we have a lot of what are called limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are those things that you think that you can't do something. Why can't you do something? What is it that you have associated with whatever it is the thing that you want to do? So, for example, my knees hurt. I can't run. My hips hurt. I can't do this. I can't do a squat because of a variety of reasons. I kind of think of it like the Tin Man. And the Tin Man is from The Wizard of Oz. All right. It's been redone a whole bunch of times. So what do I mean by that? Well, when the Tin Man sits out in the field for a long time, what happens? They get all stiff until they start to lubricate, right? And all of a sudden, he can start to move again. Well, that's the thing. I think that essentially it is important for you to exercise and do something every single day. This is going to be a common theme throughout anything that I do, is all about consistency. And I can tell you that anybody that is successful is consistent. If you're a pro football player, or you are a soccer player, or you are a writer, or you are an actor, whatever it is, it's all about consistency and getting started. So the question really is, how do you get started? So let me ask you, you just did how long was your race?
37 miles.
37 miles. And I know one year you did, and you couldn't finish because you weren't ready. It didn't fail.
Okay.
That's a bad way to look at it, buddy.
You're right.
You didn't fail. You worked, you weren't prepared, and you learned, right? So therefore you did it.
It was interesting because what we're going to talk about today is actually the message I needed right after that race, because I wasn't prepared. My body wasn't ready. I put it through all this strain for the actual race, didn't get the result I wanted from the race. And then there's obviously, after any type of strain like that, there's a down part of it where I had to kind of reset my body, get everything back. That starting point, I felt like I was at zero when I started 4 years ago. Like I felt like I was at that point. And for me, mentally, that messed me up so bad because I was like, I'd done all this work previously, and just getting the consistency part back, being okay with I'm not going to be able to show up how I used to, but it's just about showing up in general, was like one of the hardest parts. So I'm excited to see this because me a year and a half ago would have like died for this information.
Showing up, okay, and showing up in general. That's the thing that happens though, is that maybe you were very successful at whatever it was you were doing before from an exercise standpoint, and then just getting started, you kind of feel terrible. I mean, it doesn't feel all that great to begin with. In fact, every single time I did a run on a Saturday, which was generally like the long run, the first mile or so was a little bit harder than the rest of it because your body's not used to it. But the other thing is that you can't give yourself a hard time, because if you do that enough, you will get started. And so a lot of times if you're overweight and under exercise, so therefore, your overall level of fitness is relatively low, that is your reason to not start. But that's, you know what that is? That's just an excuse. And that excuse is one that we all can have. I don't have enough time. I'm working. My dog has to go to the pet groomer. I have a doctor's appointment. Don't miss those. But, for whatever reason it is, we come up with all of these excuses, and that's all that they are. So how do you break out of that first? And that is your mindset. So we talked about mindset in terms of your health, because whether or not you're looking at your nutrition and your fitness and how well you sleep and how you manage stress, and do you look at things in the environment, and are you managing your relationships? Any of those things, are you thinking about them? The answer is you may be thinking about some of them, but not all of them. And you certainly can. You can get started by listening to yourself and getting started. So listening to your body is the key. So if we say,
real quick, not to interrupt you there, I want to ask you about that exact thing. Some people rely on their feelings more than they actually listen to their bodies. So there's this idea, and I want to get your take on it. I feel like I'm not ready to run today. Like this morning, I woke up and I was like, I feel like I want to sleep in another hour. I feel this way, that way. What's the difference between I feel and actually listening to your body?
You have to make exercise a priority. If you don't feel well, that's your brain saying, you can get out of this. You don't have to do this today. The bed is awfully comfy. I had a hard night last night because I went out with my buddies, or I had a big meal late and I got a little tummy cramp or something like that. Again, those are excuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things that you either do or you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Yoda-like, right? Do or don't do. That was the big thing, when Luke was on Dagobah, and, basically what happened was that he had the X-Wing in the water, and Yoda's like, basically like, go get it. And Luke's like, let me go get it. And he's like, and the thing starts coming up out of the water, and it goes back in. He tries, and he goes back in, and he goes, I can't do it, right? So do or don't do, there is no try. Basically, that's the message, right?
I like that.
So same thing with exercise. Either you do it or you don't do it. Now, I can tell you, I would say many days of the week, I'm like, I got a lot to do, got this podcast, I've got other things, and my son's coming to town. Maybe I won't go exercise. Nah, it's not the case. First thing this morning, we got up, we went to sleep pretty late, got up, went to the gym, and we did our best at the gym. And then, usually some people do 2-a-days. In fact, my son, who made a huge transition into exercise and nutrition on his own, this wasn't pushed by anybody, because he saw the importance of that over time. And I want you to see the importance of it, because if you do, tomorrow is going to look better. Next year is going to look better. And guess what? You may not be thinking about this, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you'll be looking back and going, I watched this podcast and this guy was talking about this. And I'm like, maybe I should just get started. And I can't remember his name, but he was good looking. But I will say that that's my opinion, of course. But, they'll look back and think fondly that this was a thing to do. So Back to limiting beliefs, the things that you can't do, why you can't do it, just go out and do it. Nike made a whole big campaign about that. It's still going on, the Just Do It campaign, right? So therefore, wake up in the morning, don't listen to that. That is your mind talking. You have to be in control of your mind if you want to do it. Now, I've seen not only all of these incredibly well-built men and women who are able to do things that I will probably never be able to do, but online. But there's also a whole new section of a bunch of dads getting online doing it. There's several physicians, a couple that I know, that are beginning to say the importance of exercise. And if you had to understand one aspect of this entire podcast, it's that you have strength training, resistance to build your muscles, because that'll help you long-term. You've got cardiovascular fitness. That's how much you can do. That'll help you raise your energy levels and your ability to do stuff. I can explain a little bit more about that. Your flexibility. And you also have to think a little bit about mindfulness and how to relax and kind of put all that together. I'm going to segue just for one quick second because I like to throw in some science. It's all talking about something I talk about very frequently, which is your mitochondria, those little nuclear power plants of your cells. Those things can grow the more you exercise. So the more you do it, the more of those you get, the better fit you are. And that's how you were able to run 37 miles. Okay? Because you couldn't do it the year before, but you built it up over time. So when we're looking at stuff, we've got those categories, but you say, all right, how do I get started? Well, the first thing is you have to think about it. You have to put it on your mind. Don't let your brain tell you you can't do it, because you know what? You can. Whatever you think, either whether it's this or that, you are right. That's the way that it goes. So if you think you can't, guess what? You're not going to do it. If you think you can, you will. But the first thing is just thinking about it the night before, putting your clothes out, getting ready, and being prepared for the next day. Put that thought into your mind before you even go to sleep. Next morning, wake up, put those clothes on, and have a plan. What are you going to do today? Well, I don't want to go to the gym for a variety of reasons. Either I don't have a membership, or I am not fit enough. I don't look right. What are people going to think? Who cares? It's not a social activity. Maybe for you or some people, it might turn into that. But at the end of the day, you're going there for a reason. That is to improve yourself. So get out there and go do it. Now, having said that, if you don't want to, we can do it at home. I'm going to show you some exercises here. We'll do a little bit of an example of what they could be. Again, these are not things that I made up. They're available online. You can look at a lot of different resources, but we've kind of capsulized it so you can do it. But let's talk about one other aspect of this is what happens when you start to train. Well, that first week, you don't feel so good. In fact, when you start something, you may feel good that night or even the next morning, but you get something called delayed onset muscle soreness. And that is a killer for those that overdo it in the beginning. So that's where we listen to our body, not listen to how you feel about it, but listen to your body. Are you really sore? What are you sore about? Because if you stick with it, you have this consistency, guess what? You will definitely start to see improvements, but you won't see it in the first week. In weeks 2 through 4, you literally will start to see some ability to do the exercise that you want to do. Like, for example, when I got started in this particular plyometric routine I'm going to show you, doing things like burpees and jumps, which, by the way, are very difficult for me. You start doing those, and I was like, I just want to die. So what do you have to do? You've got to measure it. How many do you do? How many can you do? And then you can build upon it. Now, I will tell you this, as we're going through this, I like, in this particular setting, to do a Tabata style workout. So a Tabata style workout is where you work out for a specified period of time. You have a few seconds of relaxation, usually about 15 seconds, and then you do it again, and you repeat that for a cycle. So, for example, I break everything down into 4 groups of 4s. You can start with 20 seconds of exercise, move to 30 seconds if you can, 15 seconds of rest, then you do the next exercise, next one, and then you do that in cycles of 4, and then repeat that. And I'll show you 16 different exercises. May not show you all of them today because some of them are plainly obvious, but we'll do that. Now, what happens after that first month? Now you've got months 2 through 4. You are definitely starting to see some changes. You're starting to get rid of some body fat, especially if you tag nutrition. That's a whole nother section that we need to get into about nutrition, but you have to tie that into it as well as sleep. But that second month through the 4th month, you are seeing such incredible changes that you're going to like, I want to go. I want to start doing this. I want to do more. I want to maybe go to the gym now. Now you've got months 6 plus. Now the problem today is nobody wants to wait that long. Can you give me a pill? Can you give me an injection? Is there something else that I can do? I should go to the doctor because they can just fix me up. Nah, that's not going to be the case. You have to do it yourself. You've got to find that motivation from within yourself. You've got to find a reason. What are the compelling reasons why you might want to start exercising, why you might want to keep exercising? Maybe you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe you don't. Maybe you've got, maybe you're an older gentleman or woman that has children and, you've got grandkids now and you want to be able to see your kids walk down the aisle or whatever it is. Whatever the compelling reason is, grab that thing, put it inside, make it the reason why you are doing it. And you know what? There's actually something online. I can't remember the neuroscientist, but, and I'm sorry about that, but fake it till you make it. So she's a neuroscientist. She talks about this on a TED Talk where you convince yourself to do something, even if you really can't do it. Like just convince yourself that you're going to get out there and do it until it becomes a habit. And that's the last thing on this whole part is habits. If you make it a habit, if you do it consistently enough, you will want to keep doing it, whatever it is. So that is our goal. So our goal is to look at your resistance or your muscular fitness, your cardiovascular fitness, your flexibility, and your mindfulness. I think those are going to be the ultimate keys. Now, if you are training for something specific, that's a little bit different. There are training programs for running a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a marathon, a long distance run, a short bike ride, a fast bike ride, whatever it is that you're doing. There's all of those things. So what are some of the other exercises you can do? Obviously swimming, walking, biking, running or jogging, an elliptical trainer, a rowing machine. I mean, really the things that you can do are limitless, but you have to choose one. So you're going to ask the question, what is the best exercise program to do? And it's just like the question asking, what is the best diet? It's the one that you follow. So follow something, literally. It's like, and I don't want to say it in terms of, product development, but if you are not using any skincare products, for example, you're like, well, this one is amazing. It has all of these reviews and it's like the top of the line with, gold enlayment or whatever is in there. Well, guess what? The best one is the one that you use on a regular basis. Wash your face, tone, put a moisturizer on. There's all kinds of things that you should do, but if you do it consistently, you'll see results. Same thing with exercise. If you do it consistency, you will see results. So I hope that answers how to get started and what happens when you get started in terms of what's called adaptation. And I think there's a ton of information online about this. I like to use different resources. So you can use any kind of platform. It could be, Copilot. It could be Google. It could be ChatGPT. Whatever it is, they have lots of information, just how you put information in. But we will provide you with a list of exactly what I'm talking about, which is be a little bit more detailed and organized than we're saying it right now, that will help you get started. And I hope that makes sense. So I think that it's a good idea to show a couple of these exercises and what it means. So a Tabata timer is a tool that you can use. It is a free downloadable app that on your phone looks something like this. So you can kind of zoom into that real quick and you can see that. And so what this does is it tells you how many seconds of work and then how much time off. Now, for our purposes, I'm just going to say decrease this down to maybe 15 seconds of work and 15 seconds of rest. Otherwise, we'll be here for a long time. And, we'll do just really one set so you can see kind of what happens. We'll do a lunge. We'll do a burpee, which we'll show you what that is. That was like our old football kind of things that we used to do. And then a simple plank. And I have a few things here. The other exercises I have listed on my sheet that you can get online. Just go to our link down below and you can check it out. Also, my website is on there for anybody who wants to connect with us. So that should be pretty easy. All right, I'm going to come over to this side of the mat here, and you can go there. You can come right over here too.
Okay, sweet.
So you're not going to get here. So we're just going to do this, and basically you're going to start running, and you want to kind of get your legs up. You want to really just get this up. And, the first thing you do in the morning, this is going to be kind of hard because you're like, I'm a little bit stiff, especially if you're a little bit older, like me. So you have this, and then you hear a ding. Thank God, right? Now I can take a break for 15 seconds. That's not very long. Next one is going to be a lunge. Now I like to do them with a weight, but or a dumbbell and things like that. So basically, you just want to kind of get down and do a lunge and back and forth. When you start these, literally 3 days later, you're in a lot of pain. So you're doing this for this purposes is 15 seconds. You can see that Jamie here gets down a little bit further than I do, but that's perfectly fine. You do it however you can for yourself. Now, the next one, we're going to do the worst, right, which are burpees, which are getting down, right, and then you want to get all the way up. So get down and all the way up, right? And if I'm so out of breath, I can't even talk afterwards, sorry about that. But we only got 15 seconds, so we're good. So there we are. All right. That was pretty easy. You got a few more seconds. We're going to get down, and we're just going to do a quick plank, and that's it, right? So kind of get ready, get in a good position, and then do it. You can't do a plank?
Oh, no, I was just showing the other variation of it. This is actually way harder.
All right. So when it's 30 seconds, you wish, man. So you can hear that ding, and that's the end of that whole session. So I think that that's a really good tool to help you get started. We've got a bunch of other things we could do. Check them out online. Dr. Corey Howard, thanks for watching today.